you're looking at the two reasons on why you should play Caesar. Yes, the almighty sword and the shield. And what is better than a sword and shield? A golden sword and shield. And what is better than a cake? A cake glazed with the golden shield. Hello proxies. So this guide is made in a way that you already know a thing or two about Caesar, like she's heterosexual. Judging from the manga she read, her shield is made out of second-hand tire so that she can have another good year. And you spend some time playing her. So I've been watching over 50 Caesar's videos from both JP side, EN side, and CN side, and condensed down into this video. So let's go. Caesar is now unironically the best support in the game. She could literally do better job than any support, maybe aside from Rina with the Grace. Even though on the paper, she doesn't buff as much as Nicole, Lycon, and Sokaku on their own elemental team. And the important part is on paper, because she has uninterruptible shield, which enable all the DPS and the stunner to dish out the DPS and stun, which largely increase their overall damage in practice, because you don't have to worry about getting hit by the enemy and losing damage from dodge counter, especially for DPS like Alan and Soldier 11, and occasionally Jane though, because majority of the DPS characters accounts half of their DPS output from the last few combos of their attacks. So as you can see, one of my old videos also demonstrate this, where Ellen Jo can just dish out her damage without getting interrupted. And every time when a DPS like this get interrupted, you are also losing a lot of damage. So Caesar's uninterruptible shield should be counted as a form of DPS buff and stun buff, because there's no amount of skills and dodging could out DPS from just simply brute forcing your combos. So anything that a support can do, she can actually do better. And she also shine better than these support in the high pressure environment, especially the ambush node and the disputed 8, where enemy would attack you aggressively. Because let's be real, how many times you get interrupted by these enemies? But with Caesar's shield, you can just keep dish out the attacks without worrying about getting hit and lose all your DPS. And do you know what is even more impressive? I'm saying all this without her signature Wenjin. With her signature Wenjin on, she would outperform all the support on both paper and in practice, because her signature Wenjin would buff for another 18% damage and 12% days build-up, in contrary to the belief that Caesar wouldn't perform better than Nicole in the Qingyi Zhuyuan teams. A Japanese content creator has already proved this otherwise. The test was done with her signature weapon, so that's also benefit Qingyi to stun the mobs even faster. So don't let anyone tell you that Caesar is not good to pair with another stunner. And the reason that Caesar is faster than Nicole for 4 seconds in a span of time of 32 is huge. And you can see Caesar team and Nicole's team, she is ahead of Nicole by miles because of her extra stun. And the 10% days increase from her signature weapon allow this team to stun faster and clear the enemy with the better time, which I'm going to show you guys the whole run later. And what makes Caesar even stronger is that she could provide all the utility with 3 simple buttons, which is defensive assist to basic, then skill, or defensive assist to skill, then switch off. So she is at her most optimized when you treat her like a quick swap characters to allow other members of the team to deal damage or do the stun in majority of the team. If you want to treat her like an on-field stunner, I think it takes a lot of skill to actually optimize her stunning capabilities. I think some of you have already seen this, but in this stunning test, Caesar actually used all her energy to pull this out. I think the test is 100% valid, but just keep in mind that you can't do that consistently because of the limited amounts of energy. Now let's break down her most important combos. It's such an important combos because it provides all the buff. So as you can see, the moment when Caesar parried, she got the Protopunks buff, gives you 15% damage for 10 seconds, which is apparently the best force set for Caesar, along with 2 set Shock Star, Freedom Jazz 2 set is not a bad option, and when she hit her second attacks into this basic attack, it counts as interrupt, which activates her signature vengeance buff, which is whopping 18% damage and 12% daze. And when you perform this last attack, you could swap to other characters immediately while activating the shield and also activating her core ability, Battle Spirit, which debuff 25% damage taken from any of your member for 30 seconds. You would get 100% uptime if you do this combo for every 10 seconds. By the way, Caesar will perform her full combos regardless if you switch in early or switch in later or not switch at all. You will get the same amount of impact, and the moment you use the skill, it doesn't need to hit the enemy to activate the shield, and you can perform your perfect blocks with your skill in any frame of action. It will animation cancel it except the last basic attacks, and you can also perform the perfect blocks without the energy, but just don't expect a lot of days out of it. And by the way, no matter how much damage you are taken, even if it's like 1 million damage, your characters wouldn't die as long as the shield is on, as the rest of the damage is not going to transfer to your characters. For any other tips, one of them is the pull attacks. It's better to utilize your hold attack in the middle of the enemies to get the best grouping effects out of it. And it would also activate the Battle Spirit, debuffing the enemy for 25% on damage increase. So the best W engine is obviously her signature, and it's miles ahead of the S-rank impacts, but the raw base stack likes attacks and the impacts make it much better than any A-rank W engine out there. And generally, A-rank Stunner's Impacts W engine is better than A-rank Defense W engine. Actually, original Transmorpher provides slightly more impacts than the S-rank impacts, but it is conditional. You need to get hit by the enemies or parry the attacks in order to trigger the effects of it. On top of that, you need to refine it until max level, which actually costs a lot. So you can just use the A-rank impact with 1-star refinement, because to be honest, the differences are negligible. But if you happen to have Transmorpher with the max refinement, then you can just straight up use it. And these are the team that I find it quite interesting with Ellen Joes. It's best to just replace Sokaku with Caesar. And if you happen to not have a Lycan, then you can slot Caesar into it. Jane Doe says Caesar seems to be standard. I have seen people discuss about this team comp, and I saw this Jane Doe Qingyi team. It kind of made me surprised, because it actually makes sense. You're not only getting a faster stun in this team, you also get a stun damage multiplier on top of that, basically swapping Zhu Yuan with Jane Doe. But basically she's good with any DPS in the game, aside from Grace, which the nature of Grace team comp and Grace herself are just so anti-synergistic with Caesar that you should use other unit instead. So now let's take a look some speedrun in the JP side. And this is one of the test results I got from the JP side. You can pause the video if you are interested. And as a professional content creator, I can't just watch a video without reacting. And since I don't feel like showing my face today, I will just let Belle do the honor reacting to the content. Let's go. So let's start with typical Zhu Yuan Qingyi team. So we have Zhu Yuan going in strong and hot. So you can see he swap into Caesar to pre-shield and buff 1000 attack, then soon switch into Qingyi and let Qingyi do her thing. And Qingyi would stun faster than she normally would because she got this 12% daze from the Caesar signature weapon, allow him to stun the enemy earlier than Nicole. And this part is extremely important, because if you look at the daze meter, both of them are about to get stunned, unless Caesar to launch the chain attack, so that the whole team can get the buff from the proto-punks and 25% damage increase from her core passive. And now he go with the standard chain attacks with Zhu Yuan, beautifully taking out the enemy at the same time. And let's go with Jane Doe's team. So you can see he used Seth and Caesar to pre-buff Jane Doe at the same time, and let Jane Doe do her thing without even stunning the enemies. And he said 15% damage buff doesn't worth the time. I would just finish off the enemy without the Protopunk's buff. And now going with Lucy, pre-buffing with Lucy and Caesar, and going in finish off the enemy without stunning the enemy, or even parried without the Protopunk's buff. So you can see Lucy is such a busted character, and on this event they also gives out Lucy for free. Whether you are getting the characters or getting the Mindscape, they are all valuable. Especially Mindscape 2 and Mindscape 6 are such a game changer. So if you make it this far, please sub and like. I'm about to make it. I'm only 2 digits away from being eligible for monetization, and I can't thanks enough for all the support. And I will be out of town for 2 weeks and uploading some of my pre-recorded, which is some videos that I made before my Zenless Zone Zero contents blows up, and there's no way that I could make any content in those 2 weeks. The trip was decided long ago, and I literally has less than 24 hours to take the plane when I uploaded this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. See you guys.